city today. I got a couple things to do here in town. I gotta bring by this container to the kind folks who we got some good raw milk for the kids from. And Jessica also made some good full-fat yogurt with it as well. But yeah, I'm gonna bring this back to our friends who give us good raw milk, and I'm going to have this book that I printed out, bound. I'll show you. Arthur Kessler, The Ghost in the Machine. Interesting book. I've read passages of it, and it seems very, very interesting as far as you know, modern 20th century philosophy of the so-called oligarchical ruling elite. And just because I'm reading a book by this guy, this doesn't mean I like agree with this guy's points of view, or I think he's a you know, valid thinker. I just think it's really important to read some of the thinkers that have informed you know, the thought process of the modern world. Edward Bernays, some of these genocidal maniacs like Arthur Kessler, H.G. Wells. It can be really hard to find books here in Ecuador. English books, good English books. There's no used bookstores, which is something that I've always been obsessed with. I love reading. So what I do is I print books out, and then I just have them bound. So here's a book, I had it printed out at my house rather, and now I'm gonna go have it bound up because I don't like reading on a computer for many reasons, one of which is general health. Staring at a computer screen, staring at artificial blue light all the time makes you not able to make melatonin. Screws up the circadian rhythm, actually causes acute inflammation, and can exacerbate chronic inflammatory responses. Check out the clouds. What? Hola, amigo. ¿Puede anillarlo? Yo regreso en la tarde. Gracias. Gracias. I just go with water. Alright, so I'm gonna take a taxi. ¿Qué tal, amigo? Yo necesito ir a SRI. SRI. I think this is good. See parts of stoves. I have hope. Sí. ¿Cuánto sería eso? $12. I got my gas cans. So this place across the street right here used to be this whole building. That wall right there is hundreds of years old. This was used during the War for Independence of Ecuador. Simón Bolívar actually used this building here, and it's now owned by like a nunnery, a small nunnery. And my friend who runs this spot here was talking to the priest and brought his metal detector in there, and they found a bunch of stuff up in the walls of this place. Lots of he said he thinks there was a lot of silver and just like old coins and stuff. And he had like this agreement with the priest that they were going to go search for some of these things in the walls, but when he ended up finding it, the guy kind of backed out and didn't want him to help him to excavate. Kind of interesting. Let's see if my buddy is here. Really kind of busy right now. Haggard, ¿qué tal, amigo?
Bien.
¿Todo bien? ¿Cómo? ¿Dónde encontraste esto? Siempre es Saruma. ¿Cómo está la calle a Saruma ahora?
Un poco feo.
Muy feo.
Vamos a empezar entonces prendiendo el equipo. Esta parte que es muy saludable y llena de fibra que nos va a ayudar también.
Haggard's super into minerals, and I'm also a total mineral nerd. Check out this selenite. ¿Dónde encontraste ese, Haggard? Ese es de Brasil, yeah, no es de Ecuador. Increíble.
Lámpara.
Oh, yeah. Muy caro esos.
170.
Yeah, es buen precio. He's saying that this is for drinking water. You put your water inside there. I'm down for that. I'm into it. I can dig it. I'm down for a geode cup.
Si quieres, te puedo llamar cuando voy a acabar.
¿Cuándo piensa?
En unos 15 días.
Chévere. Couple kilos of salmon. $40 for like, what is that, a kilo and a half, I think? Pretty expensive here, but worth it. I love salmon, and my kids love it. They're gonna be so happy when I surprise them. Oh, I made it. I got home. It was a nice little victory lap. Actually, I tuned in my carburetor just how I wanted it and got the perfect air-fuel ratio after fiddling with this thing for a few months now, and the truck's running great. So I took my victory lap to Aloha, got some stuff done, met up with an old friend, and it was a good journey. But now I'm home. And I want to talk to you a little bit about intermittent fasting and why it's not really what people are making it out to be. I want to give you the lowdown on intermittent fasting that a lot of the people that are promoting it are not going to tell you. And the reason being is a lot of people that promote intermittent fasting are doing it for clicks. They're just looking at the Google Trends, they're following what's trendy, and they're getting those clicks. That's what YouTube's about nowadays. That's what the internet marketing is all about. It's about attention. So instead of giving you the full picture, some individuals like to just hit keywords and sensationalize things. So there's a lot of misinformation out there, a lot of misleading stuff out there, but you know what? That's how it is. This is life. So intermittent fasting, something I've been using on and off for years now. Discussed it, the ins and outs of it many times, but I'm going to give you some of the information on intermittent fasting that a lot of people are omitting nowadays. First of all, intermittent fasting can be a very effective fat loss tool in some people and in some contexts. Now, just because it's a really good fat loss tool in certain contexts doesn't mean it's perfect for everybody in every context. Like we're always saying, keto in context. It's all about context. Same with intermittent fasting. Now, intermittent fasting is basically a time-restricted feeding window. Some people will fast for 16 hours. On the internet, in the land of the internet, there seems to be this like magical cutoff where 16 hours becomes intermittent fasting. And this comes from the Lean Gains protocol. It's been around for a long time. Great protocol, worked for many people for fat loss, especially bodybuilder types, people who are trying to put on lean muscle mass and who are already pretty insulin sensitive. What intermittent fasting does is it puts you in a kind of a mild ketotic state. It puts you in a state where you're going to be burning body fat throughout a large period of the day because you're just not eating food. Now, for people who are on a carbohydrate-based diet, this could be a really good way to decrease your hunger and can also be kind of like a gateway drug to looking into the effects of ketosis. Actually, intermittent fasting was what got me into keto in the first place. I felt so good during the fasted period, but I found that after I ate, I didn't feel as optimal when I was doing intermittent fasting. Now, let me tell you why I didn't feel as optimal. And I didn't realize it at the time what was really happening. And this happens to a lot of people on keto as well. When you've got dysregulated blood glucose levels, when you're not able to control your blood glucose very well, skipping breakfast can be very, very detrimental to your satiety signaling and your hunger hormones. You're going to have low leptin levels. which is not going to allow you to be satiated throughout the day. And leptin and insulin actually tell our bodies that we're satiated. So getting breakfast in the morning hormonally can be a very, very important practice. Right? When we first wake up in the morning, the light comes from the sun, the full spectrum light device out there. The only full spectrum device gives us all these amazing health benefits. The blue light frequencies from the sun will hit our eyes. They'll go through our eyes and into the suprachiasmatic nucleus in the brain, and that will tell us that it's time to wake up. And guess what that means? It's time to raise cortisol, which is a stress hormone. Now, cortisol is not bad in and of itself, but when you have too much cortisol at the wrong time, it can be detrimental. It is a catabolic hormone that releases glucose from tissues and also can break down lean muscle tissue as well. So, and this is especially true for women. A lot of individuals who push back breakfast too long end up not getting the proper hunger and satiety signaling. So it's like if you're pushing back breakfast till 12, 1 o'clock, this is kind of a standard American practice anyways. How many people out there on the standard American diet wake up in the morning, don't eat anything, maybe have some Starbucks coffee or drink some black coffee or something, or maybe coffee with like a little bit of sugar in it, and then end up fasting until lunchtime. And then they're about to crash, they eat some food, they feel a little bit better for like 20, 30 minutes, and then they crash again. So many people do this. So many people do intermittent fasting style, pushing back breakfast without even eating a healthy diet, without even intending to. It's just kind of one of the things we do in this modern world. People wake up in the morning, they're instantly checking Instagram, instantly checking their emails, cortisol, stress hormones. Gotta go, go, go. Gotta make that money, gotta be competitive, right? Sometimes our priorities are way off. So pushing back breakfast can raise our cortisol for a long period of time. And then by the time we do eat, very often we're so hungry that satiety signaling is not happening properly yet. Right? You're not getting a good protein meal in the morning to set your leptin levels, to decrease your hunger throughout the day. So your body is just not getting the signals. And when you do sit down to eat, a lot of people end up eating more than they need when they're doing intermittent fasting. And this is true even for people on a ketogenic diet. So, intermittent fasting, for that reason, can be a bad idea for many people. Eating breakfast in the morning can really help to set the metabolic tempo for the rest of your day. Giving yourself a good protein and fat-based meal in the morning can tell your body, hey, it's all good. It'll drop your cortisol down, it'll raise your leptin levels up, and it'll drop ghrelin, and it'll tell your body, everything's good. You don't need to be hungry or stress out about food. So, one way to do intermittent fasting, a hummingbird just flew by. Let's see if I can show you. I don't know if you saw that. It was flying around the banana trees down there. And it makes this cool little chirp sound. Really cool. Anyways, try this out. Instead of pushing back your breakfast for so long, try eating in the morning. Especially if you've been having problems with intermittent fasting, if you've been stalling, you've been doing IF, and it doesn't really decrease your hunger that much, and you don't feel that good, after you do eat, you get a crash. If this is you, try eating in the morning. And if you really want to try intermittent fasting, you really still want to do it, you're really sold on the idea, I'm not saying intermittent fasting is bad. I'm just saying it's not the magical thing that people make it out to be. If you really want to do intermittent fasting and do the 16-hour fasting window, which you really think that there's a big difference in autophagy levels and you're going to get into deep autophagy because of those 4 extra hours that you're not eating rather. It doesn't work like that. There's no magic lever in the body that gets pulled as soon as you hit that 16-hour fast and all your cells go, woohoo, choo-choo, we're super healthy now. We're getting into deep autophagy. That's not how it works. Most of the studies that people are referencing when they tell you about the benefits of intermittent fasting are far longer than 16-hour fasts. Especially the stuff that when people say it's anabolic, when people say, oh, it's going to elevate your growth hormone 2,000%. That is from fasting for like 48 hours. So a lot of people are misrepresenting studies too. So anyways, try eating in the morning. And if you do want to intermittent fast, eat your dinner earlier. Right? So instead of eating from 1 o'clock till 7 o'clock at night with a 6-hour window, what if you were to eat from 7 o'clock until 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon for an 8-hour window, right? You have a in-between lunch and dinner meal. Socially, this can be difficult, of course, but you know what? Any intermittent fasting routine can make things difficult socially and with work and whatnot, but try that eating window out. Pushing dinner a little bit earlier and eating breakfast. Another thing that I've found that works especially well in people who have been intermittent fasting for a long time, who have been struggling with it due to decreased thyroid hormone output, increased cortisol at the wrong times, and a disrupted circadian rhythm, and then the fasting exacerbates this even further. Another thing that works really well, and this is what I do most days: eat breakfast, skip lunch, and then eat dinner, right? So you're going to be fasting for about 12 hours throughout the day. This morning I woke up, had some eggs and sardines, had some chlorella too, which is an algae, a blue-green algae. Actually, chlorella is just a green algae, I believe. That is just really amazing, and I love how it tastes. I'm a weirdo. I love how chlorella tastes, especially like in chocolate. But I had some chlorella. Even had some cacao as well, some 100% chocolate. And then I went off on my day. I was gone most of the early hours of the day. I got back in the early afternoon. It's almost 5 o'clock now, and I'm still not hungry. I will have dinner, and I'll call it a day. Both of those meals, I'm eating to satiety. I'm eating like a king. When I wake up in the morning, yeah, I could skip breakfast if I wanted to. I could fast a little bit longer, but I like to get that meal in. I like to drop my blood glucose and keep it stable. I like to raise my leptin levels up so that for the rest of the day, I'm just not hungry. Because pushing back meals until you're super, super hungry can backfire for many people. Sometimes, very, very often, eating before you get really hungry is an effective strategy for fat loss and for keeping your hunger down. Before that fire gets out of control, you put it out. You raise your leptin levels. So, intermittent fasting can be a great tool, but it sometimes backfires for some people. It's not a magical panacea that when you hit 16 hours of fasting time, everything turns around, you just become super healthy, superhuman strength, and all anabolic. In fact, fasting for long periods of time is very anti-anabolic. Yes, there is an increase in growth hormone to try and maintain lean muscle mass, but you do break down muscle tissue in extended fasting periods, which is something that a lot of people like to downplay. So anyways, intermittent fasting, great tool, useful tool, but not magic. For some people, it doesn't decrease their hunger. For some people, it doesn't feel awesome all day long to do intermittent fasting. For some people, eating before you're hungry and eating in the morning and the evening might be a better routine than just pushing back breakfast as long as you can. Remember, a lot of us, even when we were on like a standard American diet, eating, I used to intermittent fast, and I would eat blueberry muffins. I'd drink coffee in the morning when I was in college. I'd skip breakfast, and I wouldn't eat something till like sometimes 12, 1 o'clock. And then I would have like a meatball sandwich with a bunch of bread and cheese and meatballs and beer, right? It's like completely unhealthy habits, but it was intermittent fasting. So there you go, guys. Intermittent fasting can be a really cool tool, but we've got to keep it in perspective. So this is something we're going to get into deep this month on the Keto Collective Community Coaching course. I think that starts I think we're like 3 or 4 days away from the first session, the April session, which is going April 8th until May 6th. After that, the next one's probably going to be in June or July. We'll announce that soon. We're really stoked on this. It's a way we get a lot of coaching requests for private coaching, and sometimes I'm just not able to take on the amount of clientele that we've got requesting this service. We love working with people and getting to know people and helping people put this into context, make it simple, straightforward, easy, and implementable long term. And that's the goal with the Keto Collective Community Coaching course. It's not just like a fat loss boot camp. It's not just like a get shredded, let's do a crazy cut and send you to the gym 6 hours a day, 6 hours a week, and cut your calories super low. We're working with all kinds of people with different experiences, with a myriad of different reasons for doing it. And I've got a lot of former clients who I've worked with over the years who are joining us with the Keto Collective, and a lot of people who are just seeking, health, longevity, fat loss, and using a ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting, time-restricted feeding for different reasons. So it's going to be really cool. We're going to get into optimizing meal timing, optimizing circadian rhythms, how to reduce inflammation using other techniques other than just Keto. We're going to go far beyond keto, which is going to be really, really fun, and we're going to get deep on it this month. So you might not see as much content from us throughout the month of April on YouTube or Instagram, but don't worry, we're still working our butts off with you guys. We're just getting a little bit more personal with the individuals who are getting down on the Keto Collective Community Coaching course. So if you're interested, you might have a couple more days to sign up for this first session, but we'll do more. Don't worry. Everything's cool. We've got lots of amazing announcements coming up, lots of really special stuff, and we're going to stay on the cutting edge, on the bleeding edge of what is real. And we're going to keep it real with you guys and not sell you on a bunch of bullcrap and tell you, we'll tell it like it is. So anyways, you can find more at primaledgehealth.com. Intermittent fasting, great tool, but not really what they're making it out to be. It's all about context. Now get off the computer, get off social media, get off the TV, and go live your dang life. Have a good one.